5.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire, and today I'm checking in with yet another tutorial. This time we're going to talk about the way that I organize my mixes and how I use my buses and subgroups within my mixes to ultimately achieve the final product. There's a lot of different ways to organize your tracks and mixes. I like to do my stuff based on what is really a part of the track, right? So there's certain things that are always going to be there, and then there's certain things that are sort of dynamic and they change based on the song, because no two songs are the same. I might have some components in one song and a whole different set of components in the other. Now, what I'm going to show you today is pretty much my standard template of what I use to organize, or what buses I use to keep my track organized. And we can just explore this, and then hopefully you can find a way to apply it in your own setup as well. So let's jump into Pro Tools and I'll show you what's going on here. So I got this song here. This is called W.C.W. It's already out. It's by EverythingOShauN, and it's a track that I produced with my partner SLWJMZ. Super dope record. I encourage you guys to check it out. It's available right now on Spotify and everything, so I'll include a link in the description for you to peep. And the whole album's super dope, but I've produced this one with SLW, and then I also mixed and mastered the final product, which you'll be able to hear after this. But what I really want to focus on is how I've set everything up. So this track, just to give you a little bit of an overview, we'll go to the top here. I got all my stems, so all my instrumental stems, my 808s, my basses, my kicks, my snares, drums, pads, etc. So I have everything, here when it comes to the instrumental. Now, on top of that, I have obviously my vocals. So all my vocals are down here, mostly pinks and purples. That's how I color them. And I just like coloring stuff because it helps me visually look at something and just almost know what it is right away without even having to read anything or look at it too deep. I can say, hey, it's pink, it's probably a vocal. Or I can look at my drums, and I always color my drums red. So it's like, hey, my drums are red. They're drums, right? Very, very simple, straightforward stuff. Now, how I have this arranged is everything kind of goes somewhere, right? So we can almost think of things as a pyramid if you want. Let's think of it as a 3-layer pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid is my final master, right? So if I scroll down here, that would be this print track, okay? My master out. As you can see, I have it labeled. So that's sort of the top of the pyramid. And then underneath that, we could think of all of our sub-masters or subgroups, right? And the way I do that is I have a vocal master and an instrumental master. So pretty simple, just two groups, right? And ultimately, everything goes to these two before funneling up to the top at the master level. So very top is my print track, aka master out. Level underneath that would be my instrumental master and my vocal master. These are sort of parallel or beside each other. And obviously instrumental is going to consist of all my instrumental stems. My vocal master is going to consist of all my vocal stems. Now, one level underneath that, let's look at the instrumental first because it's a little more complicated, but nonetheless easier to explain. I organize my instrumental really into 4 subgroups always, and that's what you see here, these green, teal kind of colors. And what they are is I have a drum master. So these are all my drum sounds, so kick, snare, etc. I have my bass master. These are going to be all my bass sounds, 808s, etc. Also known as a low end master. I have my all instrument master. And all instrument master is basically every sound that isn't the kick, or sorry, isn't the drums I should say, and isn't the bass. So, pads, pianos, guitars, synths, anything else that's really musical or melodic in any capacity. And then I have my effects master. And effects master is really where my reverbs, my delays, and all that kind of stuff goes. So we have these 4 groups, and these are where all the instrumental stems will ultimately go. So all my individual instrumental stems, all my kicks and snares, percussion, they go to my drum master. My bass, that's going to be like my mid basses, my 808s, anything that pertains to the low end goes there. All instruments, guitars, pianos, pads, they're going to go there. Effects, it's only going to be my effects, especially my reverbs and delays. If I have any compression, parallel compression, or stuff that relates to like frequency density, more so compressors like I'm saying, those would still fit into the group that they belong to sound-wise. So like if I have a parallel compressor For my drum group, I'm going to have that parallel compressor go to the drum master as well. I'm not going to send it to the FX master. FX master is only going to be my ambiances. Okay. Now, my vocals, it's pretty simple. They all just go up to one main bus, my vocal master, and then that is also just another volume control, which ultimately goes to my final vocal master here. So the reason why I have this set up like this is really just to give myself a lot of control, right? I have a bunch of different ways to manipulate the gain on each of these tracks. I could do so on an individual level, but then I can also go in and then affect the group level as well. So maybe I'm feeding a lot of volume with the individual tracks up to the group, and then on the group I need to turn everything down because it's maybe a little bit too loud, or maybe it's the opposite problem. Maybe it's a little bit too quiet, so I feel like I want to increase the volume of that group and blend everything together. So really we're doing this just to have a lot more control of everything. I can manipulate things in different ways. I can add plugins, I can add EQ and compression, and I can glue things together in different ways. But I find this method of grouping is just the most effective, right? So I'm just going to play a little moment of this and you can just sort of see how everything is arranged. And I'll mute everything. I'll mute each individual group so you can see how everything is routed. Just one extra level of detail here. And yeah, let's check this out.
Here's the truth. Now you're more than W.C.W. That's just what I see, baby, that's the truth. Tell me what you need, girl, I'ma get the proof. Now you're more than W.C.W. That's just what I see, baby, that's the truth. Tell me what you need, girl, I'ma get the proof. Oh yeah, you a fine wine. Baby, that's a well-fine wine. Everybody know that you a dime one. I just wanna hold you down when the time come. What's the funny, no doubt, baby, holla back. Girl, I'm the man, I don't black. Baby, this is my way, kid and play.
So you can hear I'm just sort of muting these individual subgroups just for a sec, just to show you that everything is routed there. Now you do hear the snare still. I think the snare I've routed just a little bit separately to my instrumental master, just because I really wanted it to pop in this track. So I'm sort of breaking my own rules, but again, I understand the rules, so I'm able to break them when I need to. But as you can see, I just have additional control. I can automate things uniquely if I'd like to. And I find this is just the best way to group things. Now, if I could give you a little side note on some additional ways you can group them. I've been known to maybe sometimes take my kick drum and put it in my bass group or my low end group. This is just because it's also a low end sound and sometimes you want to process them together. I have other tracks that feature guitar, live guitar provided by a friend of mine. On those tracks I might have the guitar group be separate. So I'll have my all instrument group, which is my pads, my synths, my pianos, but then I have my guitars as a separate group as well. And then I'm able to manipulate that uniquely from the other sounds. So on average, these four groups you see here is how I organize every mix, or at least my instrumental side of the mix. Drum master, bass master, all instrument master, effects master. Underneath each of those is my individual tracks. So all my drum sounds go to the drum master, for example, like I was saying. And I'm just able to keep these things very neat, nice, and organized, and then process them in unique ways, like I was saying. So I hope this helps give you some more insight into how to organize your mixes. There's definitely more ways to do it. This is just one way that I've picked up, and this is something that I've learned from different people that I've worked with, Grammy Award winning people who do the same thing. If you choose to do this in your mix, let me know if it works out for you in the comments below. And if you have maybe a different way, I'd love to hear it. I'm always open to hearing how other people organize their mixes in order to achieve a better result. So hope you guys got some value out of this. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And I hope I'm able to help you mix a little bit more efficiently and really smarter, because that's the best thing here. So this is me, 5P, signing off, guys. I'll see you later. Peace out.
5.